What's up, guys? Welcome to the Heretic Mansion. I'm John.
I'm Robbie.
And I am Henry.
Yeah, anyway, it's like once again, it's been a while since our last podcast, mainly because, well, because of my work schedule. Like, basically, once the holiday season started, that's when everything gets all hectic, so they started putting me on 40-hour work weeks. And by 40, I mean 39, because that would mean they're required to give me full time
Overtime.
benefits, which they're not going to do. But yeah,
Yeah.
I just feel kind of bad because right after I was talking on the last episode about how we were going to get on a better schedule now, it's like then we go 3 weeks without recording. It's like, but anyway, that kind of has to do with what I'm talking about. I'm going to be changing the format a little bit. It's really just going to be the same thing. We're just not going to be numbering the episodes anymore, and we're just going to be titling
Yeah.
them after what our discussion topic is. Of course, you probably already figured that out by the title of this video, but that's mainly because when you do like a numbered podcast, it's you kind of expect it to be on the same schedule. Like with college coming up and whatever job I get while I'm there, it's going to be completely up in the air when I can record and whether I'll be able to record at all. Like if I can't record, every now and then I'll get somebody else to do it, but it's not just because we all live in different places and work different schedules. We can't really say we can all podcast on this certain day.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, like the main reason Tad's not here is because he's busy with his family. Because holidays and Christmas and whatnot.
Yeah.
I just got home. I
Yeah,
wa- I almost was unable to join, but
yeah,
I
Here
was
we are.
able to.
yeah. I also apologize for the bad quality of the last episode. I was messing with the settings for like an hour, and I wanted to get that episode done that same day when the hype was still going, so I just said, fuck it, I'll do it with crappy quality. But now that I've had more time to configure everything, I'm I've got a better microphone, I'm using better recording software, and it sounds great.
Yes.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I'm using the Samsung Go mic, which it's kind of like a small portable mic. Cost me $25. Right, it's not on sale anymore. It's like 40, but for that price, it's still a great microphone.
Yes.
But yeah, anyways, we got a lot of stuff to talk about. A lot of stuff related to Persona 5.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so anyway, you've probably been keeping up with all the rumors. I mean, maybe, unless you've been living under a rock, you've probably been keeping up with the Persona 5 rumors. And the biggest rumor surrounding Persona 5 is that it's going to be coming to the Switch. And the main
Uh,
reason people think this is because of all the domains that Atlus registered for Persona 5. They registered
Yes.
Yeah, they registered a bunch of different domains, and some of these domains they registered a couple of years ago, or like between 1 and 2 years ago. Some of them they recently registered, but the domains that they already did own, they recently updated, which should suggest they're gonna go active soon. Like right now, if you just go to them, you're just gonna get a blank screen, like some kind of error message. But anyway, the domains that they registered are persona5r.jp, p5s.jp, persona5s.jp, persona5m.jp, p5m.jp, p5b.jp, and persona5b.jp. So, what do you guys think that these mean?
I mean, I feel like
Um.
it's basically the same as when Persona 5, um, when news on Persona 5 first dropped. And I mean, by news, I'm not talking about the announcement. I'm literally talking about when the domain for Persona 5 was established.
Yeah. When
It
all the
started,
domains were leaked.
yeah, it started off as a domain, and then I think an eventual trademark. and then finally was the Persona 5. Well, not the Persona 5. Sorry, it was the Persona stream that happened, I believe, back in 2013 November, and then they had
Yeah.
like a whole bunch. They announced Persona 4 Dancing, Persona 4 Ultimax Arena. Sorry, Persona 4 Arena Ultimax, Persona Q, and then of course, what we got here, Persona 5. So I think with the domains and like how all that, I feel like that's a very valid first step of us getting a Persona 5 port on Switch.
Yeah, but yeah, anyways, well,
Yeah.
as far as Persona 5 on the Switch, like, I mean, the thing is, Persona has always been exclusive to Sony consoles. But
Yeah.
the thing is, all the previous Persona games, even 1 and 2, all got re releases on portable consoles. So it would make
Um.
sense for that to happen to Persona 5, but
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
it's like, what are they going to put
Also,
it on?
rem-
Yeah, go ahead.
also remember what happened to Bayonetta. That we didn't expect that, Bayonetta 2 would come out on the Switch until the Smash thing.
Right.
And Joker just got
Yeah.
confirmed for Smash. So
Well, I mean,
it's
in Bayonetta 2's case, like Bayonetta 2 was confirmed exclusive for the Wii U. Like I think it was even before the Wii U came out. But
oh,
the,
okay.
It
the
was
main
Okay, you're
reason
right.
the main reason that happened was because Sega wanted to make the game, but they didn't have enough money, so Nintendo gave them money to make the game if they made it exclusive to the
Oh,
Wii U.
mhm. Yeah. It was
okay,
more
you're
of like
right.
it was more like an obligation thing rather than saying, hey, rather than Platinum saying to themselves, hey,
Yeah.
we want to release our game exclusively for the Wii U just because we want to. Now it's more of like an obligation thing.
Right.
Mhm.
I mean, the same thing happened with Street Fighter V. Sony gave Capcom money to make the game, even though I think it would have happened anyway. But because of
Yeah.
that, it didn't come to Xbox One.
But I think with Persona 5, it's going to definitely be a lot more different, like in terms of the circumstances, obviously, because Persona 5, well, Atlus, I guess, as a whole, uh, was never really like was never really going through money troubles other than like its former parent company before Sega bought them, which was I believe they were called the National Index Company.
Index
Yes.
Corporation.
Index Corporation, yeah. Um, when they got they were the ones that were filing for bankruptcy. It wasn't Atlus that was doing bad, but obviously since Index could no longer, keep Atlus, somebody else had to buy them, and Sega came and they bought them. But oddly enough, Nintendo also put in a bid for Atlus, but Sega outbid them,
Yeah,
and
I was expecting Nintendo to buy them.
oh, definitely, yeah. So
Same.
if
Same.
like if you guys think about it, we live in a reality where Sega owns Persona or just Atlus in general. There is a potential other reality where Nintendo owned Atlus.
True.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Could you imagine that?
Persona would have been a full-on Nintendo IP if that had happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
maybe maybe Joker being in Smash here was a mistake and it was supposed to happen in that reality.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
maybe.
Imagine.
But back to what I was saying, it's like the only Sony portable console that's I don't even know if I would call it in service anymore is the Vita, and there's no way they're gonna put it on that.
I think the Vita
Yeah.
is technically still in service. I mean, probably up until like early or mid next year.
Well,
But yeah, no, I
are
agree
they
with
still
you.
being
The,
manufactured?
I
the
don't
Vita
know.
is like in limbo. It's like there's still like one or two games like made for it every year, but it's it it's just unknown if it's why it it's still barely kept alive.
2019, according to Polygon, it's production of the console for the Vita console is going to be ending in 2019. So
Right.
it
But is that in North
Yeah.
America or in Japan?
um well, I mean, manufacturing would entail that it's only being manufactured in Japan because there's a difference between manufacturing and like flat out. If it ends in Japan, or sorry, if it's
Well,
stopped
okay,
being
I don't mean like manufacturing. I mean like, are they going to be making them for North America?
I don't think so. I think that's just a full on like just plug.
Yeah, because I remember I got my Vita in like mid 2014, so that
Mm.
was like 2.5 years after it came out, and I
Oh
wanted to
yeah.
buy a new one, but every GameStop I went to said like, "Oh yeah, they're not shipping us any right now,"
Oh
so
yeah.
I bought a used one.
I remember when I bought my Vita, like basically, I think it was back in October, like a month before Persona 4 Golden came out, and people were already saying that like, oh, this is a dead console. Which I mean, obviously, it was the year that it came out, so I didn't really like give two shits about like what people were
Yeah.
saying. And plus, Persona 4 Golden was on the horizon, and that right there was like my killer app for the console. Um, but it's crazy. Like a lot of what people's like hindsight was, or just kind of like predictions were regarding it, basically gave it the death sentence. And here we are now with with the potential, port of Persona 5 on Switch, which again, like this would be potentially the first time that a main port of Persona 5 being released on a Nintendo console is, but like you
Yeah.
said prior, that every other Persona game has been released on a mobile console
Unless
or
you
a
count
handheld.
Q, but that's spin-off, so I don't.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't. I feel like Persona Q, with how it's also tied to the Etrian Odyssey series, I kind of consider that as kind of like an exception.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
But but with Persona 5 being, well, obviously full on Persona, this would definitely be like a major step in terms of a major mark in history as far as like the Persona series is definitely in question, I guess.
Yeah, I think Persona 5 getting released for the Switch is the most likely scenario. I think
Yeah.
the only other possible scenario is that Sony announces a new portable console and announces Persona 5 with that. But
Because
considering the Vita's failure, I don't think that's very likely.
Yeah.
yeah,
I agree with
Even though I'd love to see it because I love the PSP and I even still kind of like the Vita.
you.
mm,
Same.
Like, because the thing about the Vita, it's like whenever somebody asks me if I like the 3DS or the Vita more, I usually find myself jumping between the two. So I just put it this way: as a system, the Vita is better. Like, it's more powerful, it's more comfortable, it has dual analog controls,
oh yeah,
but
definitely.
Yes.
the library isn't as good as the 3DS. Like the 3DS has
Yes.
way more games.
Yeah, and also like
Yeah.
another thing that I also want to point out is that like despite Ultimate having a fair number of third-party characters that weren't originally from Nintendo or aren't first party with Nintendo,
Mhm.
they all of these characters have appeared at some point in a Nintendo console. Like all of them.
True.
Yeah.
Got it. Like Pac-Man
True.
had an NES port. Snake obviously is probably like the most like was the first one that people would point out.
Well,
But
he was in
Snake,
Twin Snakes,
he
which
was in Twin
was
Snakes, yeah,
exclusive to
that
the
was a game.
GameCube.
Exactly, yeah.
Mhm.
And then Ryu and Ken, they were in they were Street Fighter 2 on SNES, which was a very big Super Nintendo title. Um, yeah, and then Bayonetta 2. I mean, we already established the whole Bayonetta thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
There was
Sonic.
Cloud. He was in like he's. I don't know like all about
Um,
Final Fantasy with its spin-offs, but like
yeah,
with
some
all
of them.
the different like games featuring all the characters, I'm sure he's been in at least one on a Nintendo
The
console, like
first, the
Theater Rhythm.
Yes.
the first one, yeah,
Yes.
Theatrhythm is definitely one. I think the first one that I can probably say with Cloud in it was probably be Chain of Memories. Since you could obtain Cloud as a summon in that game, and
True.
that was released in Game Boy Advance. But I mean, I guess that's kind of stretching it. But I mean, it is still Cloud after all. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it's a thing.
Yeah, I can't think of a single Nintendo game Joker has been in. Unless you count Persona Q.
Yeah, Persona Q2,
But I guess that is fair game if like Theater Rhythm is fair game for Final Fantasy.
and Kingdom
Yeah.
Hearts.
Yeah.
But but I mean, I guess though another thing though is that in terms of mainline Final Fantasy, even though Cloud is was featured in that, isn't Seven is being ported onto the Switch though, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, so that's a huge like drop for them, because originally Final Fantasy, like Final Fantasy 7, Final Fantasy 9 were considered just pretty much Sony exclusives. Uh,
Well, I mean, they've been
one,
on other platforms. Like Final Fantasy VII was on PC. It was also ported to iPhone and Android.
yeah, on
Yeah.
Steam and iOS, but not Nintendo though. That's definitely like one platform that Final Fantasy 7 didn't get to get ported to until now.
Yeah.
So who knows? That's I don't know. I feel like I feel like the likelihood for 5 coming into Switch is pretty high.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. I mean, what I hope that some of the things they add with the Switch version, I hope they add a female protagonist.
That would
I hope they do too.
it would be really cool, but
Have an
it's
actual have some sorry.
oh yeah, no, go ahead.
Have an actually decently function game on a yeah, on what's considered both a portable and a home
It's
console,
like a
and
hybrid.
be able,
Hybrid.
yeah, being able to play as a female protagonist on that and have all of the interface, unlike what they did with Persona 3 Portable.
I do not. Yeah, exactly. I don't want to play as a cursor. Simply
Yeah,
put.
Well, I personally didn't mind that because it made getting to and from everywhere faster.
That is true.
yeah, it it did make things a lot faster.
And I think what helped with P3P's case is that they did change up some of the interface, like obviously when it came to story cutscenes. Because the
Yes,
fact that they didn't have any models on screen, they were able to present the cutscenes with 2 portraits or 3 portraits if they needed to, instead of the
yeah,
standard 1 portrait.
Yeah, but what I didn't like about Portable was how they got rid of the anime cutscenes.
same.
Oh, the
Ah,
the
yeah,
the manga
Yeah.
style exclamation points. I really did miss that, and
I
4
miss
also didn't
that
have
too.
that. And 4 in its entirety didn't have that either.
Like the anime cutscenes in Persona 3, like they weren't very good, like the art wasn't very good and they were choppy, cheaply animated, but like they were there, they were part of the
It had
game.
charm. It had
Yeah,
Yeah.
charm. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah. And
I enjoyed that.
they also got rid of the FES,
Yeah.
which
Yeah,
again, like some people don't like the FES, but it's part of the game.
I feel like they should have
yeah,
at least kept like a story, like a Spark Notes version at least with what happened in the epilogue, because, for some players, they probably won't get around to playing FES because they felt like they've already done their part playing Portable. So when they get to the ending scene for Persona 3 Portable, there's not going to be answers to that in that title, and there's
yeah.
no there's no like there's no real answer. I don't, pun not intended, of course, to kind of, hey, what's gonna happen afterward? And a lot of the other Persona media, it's not like the answer isn't canon. I mean, it obviously is, because Arena loved talking the hell out of, like, talked a whole bunch about, like, Elizabeth's whole purpose in Arena was because of what happened to the main character.
Exactly.
So
And now people that want to play the answer that played Portable, they're gonna be playing a game that lacks the new added features that Portable added, like being able to control your party members.
Like, I guess if it were up to me, I guess if I was in control of Atlus for at least one project, my main goal is to actually have a actual definitive version of Persona 3, because 4 I feel like is a very high consensus that 4 Golden is the definitive way of playing 4, with all its added
Yes.
features, all the added social links, characters, personas, all of that. You should just go on to just play 4 Golden.
Yeah.
And because you
Yeah.
can't say that with 3, because you have 3 FES that added in the answer, and then you have 3 Portable that added the female playable protagonist, and it's it's neat that you have options, but at the same time, if you don't have the time to devote to playing both versions, then you're just kind of shit out of luck. You have to pick either or. Do you want the extra boss fights? Do you want the female playable protagonist? Do you want the Persona 4 style battle system? Then play Portable. But if you want the atmosphere, if you want to have models on screen outside of dungeons, if you want the answer, then play FES. Like there's no like just one single answer to these questions, or to like what you want. It has to be
Yeah.
either or, which sucks.
Right.
It does.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm honestly kind of surprised Atlus hasn't re-released Persona 3 and 4 for the PS4. Like,
I know, right?
if they're gonna release Persona 3 and 4 for the
Hey.
PS4, what they should do is put them together in, like, on one disc, make it $60, like, include all the new content from Persona 4 Golden, and include the FES and all the new content from Persona 3 Portable, remaster the graphics, and there you go.
Yeah. I mean, like, I feel like that'd be a shoo-in for Atlus to just produce. I mean, it's not a lot of the work that Atlus would have to make has already been done for them. Like that's the beauty of playing a remaster, is that you, other than just cleaning up some textures and like upscaling everything, like there's not everything else is pretty much done for you. Especially, and it's what sucks is that like when I have plenty of friends that have played Persona 5 for the first time, and they want to backtrack into playing the previous games, but all they own is like current gen console. Like it's not exactly practical for them to just buy a PS3 or buy a PS2 or a Vita, and then buy Persona 3 or 4. Like you can't really expect the average consumer to just go out of their way to just do those things. And then
Yeah.
when it comes to emulation, that's also another thing. Like if they don't have a powerful enough PC to run a PS2 emulator or a PSP emulator or whatever, then again they're just shit out of luck. If they
Yeah.
want to like go backtrack into the series, then again we just have to wait on Atlus to say something.
Yeah, and I don't even think any PS Vita emulators exist.
Not that
Or
I know
if
of.
they do, they're in a very early development stage.
Yeah.
They can't
Yeah.
really emulate anything.
Yeah. Yeah, they do exist, but they're very, very glitchy.
Yeah. It's again, this is mostly in fault of Sony. Their hardware isn't exactly as accessible as, let's say, Nintendo's was, because again, 3DS emulators are a dime a dozen nowadays, but Vita not so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't really think there's enough, like, content for the Vita to warrant one.
Or interest, really. I mean, like again, other than those select few titles, like again, Persona 4 Golden or Touch Me Katamari or anything, there's not really much
And
reason to do so.
Yeah.
'Cause
and even Danganronpa fans don't need it anymore
you got
because
Steam, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think Danganronpa is way better with PC controls, too.
Oh yeah,
Yes,
definitely.
I agree.
I've recently, because I played through the first Danganronpa game on Vita, and like I went back to playing it on Steam, and it controls like beautifully. Like again, with the PC, you can be able to adjust so many different things, that
Yeah.
Vita just could not give you. So I'd say the definitive way for Danganronpa, especially, is PC.
Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah,
But yeah,
anyway, like that's just something I think Atlus could do. I mean, they could also put Persona 1 and 2 in there, release it, like call it Persona the collection up until 5 or something. Kind of like Kingdom Hearts
Persona.
did.
Yes.
Like what they did with they called it the story so far.
Yeah.
But
That would be.
And then you played through Innocent Sin and realized that none of it matters.
oh yeah.
Oh man.
But if they put the
Oh.
PSP version of Innocent Sin, they'd also kind of have to put in the PSP version of Eternal Punishment.
That's true.
But
Yeah.
they'd
Oh
have
my
to translate
God.
that.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
maybe they would do it.
Yeah, it sucks that Eternal Punishment on PSP, because there's finally an English patch out now. It's pretty much in the same position as like Mother 3 is.
Yeah. But I mean,
Yeah.
Atlus isn't gonna. They're not gonna release the fan batch for an official like game.
No.
Yeah.
But funnily enough, Nintendo for some reason has pretty much embraced a lot of the names and stuff that were already translated by the fans for Mother 3.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I was like with the trophies and stuff for Smash, I was half expecting them to call like Kumatora like Bear Tiger or something like that. But no, her name is still Kumatora, and then like Duster's like they didn't like do any like obligatory insert DBZ way of pronouncing stuff. Dosuta or something like that.
Yeah.
Something dumb like
Yeah.
that. But yeah, no, the collection a collection would be really nice. I would definitely be happy if we finally got like a collection of games. Like obviously this collection wouldn't be for me. I already have in some capacity all of these Persona games. But for the average Joe that just played Persona 5, either loved the hell out of it or is at least interested enough to go back and play through the games, that would be perfect. Like they would have an option to go back to, and again, like Square has done this with the Kingdom Hearts series. I mean,
Yes.
theirs were probably more warranted considering how scattered all of their titles are. But with Persona, like again, it would just make a lot of sense.
Right. I mean, because that's the thing about Persona 5. Like, it's brought in more people to the series than ever before. So it's
Absolutely,
creating, like,
Yeah.
a new sort of, like, division of the fan base that's only played 5 and nothing else. Like,
yeah, it's
like
Yeah.
before Persona 5 came out, the fan base was divided among the Persona 1 and 2 fans and the Persona 3 and 4 fans. Now it's divided by that and the Persona 5 fans.
so crazy. Like I
Yeah.
remember before, like when the game was first announced, when 5 was first announced, I knew that like again with any others like with any other new entry of the series, like you're bound to get new fans in. I did
Yeah.
not imagine how accessible it would be for 5, just how big of an impact 5 did, and just in general, like I have friends that I remember bugging so much to just either go back to just either play Persona 3 or play Persona 4, and they just wouldn't give a damn. And then up comes 5, and then a few months in, hey, I'm playing through 5. Oh, neat. Where are you at? Oh, I'm already in I already got Haru, and I'm like, what? Like you're already in September. Like you said you'd never play Persona. And it's like, oh, yeah, no, 5 looked really cool, and I played it, and I'm already like 60, 70 hours in, and I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah, it's like, well, are you going to play the rest of the series now?
Yeah.
5 has that universal appeal.
Oh
Like
yeah.
that kind of polish that brings people in that you'd never expect.
Right, like its style, its choice of music, its UI, like everything. Like I've seen multiple videos about people who've never played the Persona series, started with 5, or hell, never played JRPGs or just flat out hate
Oh
JRPGs.
yeah, like Yahtzee. Like you know
Donkey.
Yahtzee from Zero Punctuation.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
he hates
Yes.
Donkey.
JRPGs, and even he loved Persona 5.
Yeah, Yahtzee,
Yeah.
Donkey, Alax, like all these dudes that are mostly known for either playing platformers or indie puzzle games or whatever, playing through this game and are like, holy shit, I love this game. I hate the genre that this is based off of, but I love the hell out of this game. I love the characters, I love the story, I love the music, gameplay. Crazy. Like it's absolutely crazy that like out of any JRPG, out of any possible JRPG that could have come out in the past couple of years, it's Persona of all games. Like that's a dream to me. Like it's hard to believe that this is a thing.
Yeah.
It
I
really is.
yeah, I just hope that it gets more people into the Persona and the rest of the Megami Tensei series, but
Oh
I
it
I
doesn't
hope
really
so
seem
too.
like that's happening as much as I want it to.
yeah, it's I remember
Yeah.
again like going a little bit off topic. I remember when Undertale came out and it was a huge game, of course, 2015. And I
Yeah.
was like, well, that's great that people are getting into Undertale. When are people gonna get into the Mother series? Earthbound and Mother 3 and all of that good stuff.
Yeah.
That hasn't really happened. So it's to me, I feel like with Persona 5, it's kind of in the similar situation, at least for
Except
me.
the difference between that and Undertale is Undertale was just an indie game that was, in the heart, like based off of Mother and such, but
Yeah,
not actually directly related. Whereas
yeah,
this is directly related to each other. So Atlus can do something about it. They can release something that like what we said earlier,
hmm
that would get more interest into the series.
Yeah, at
yeah,
least put Persona 3 and 4 on Virtual Console for PS4.
Yeah.
right. Well, I guess it would be what is it? What's it PlayStation? It's called PlayStation Classics.
Yes,
But no,
the
I get
PS2
what you mean.
classics.
Yeah, PS2, whatever classics. Yeah, but it's a problem in general. Like with I also saw another video. It's kind of funny that we're talking about all this because I also saw another video talking about like just game preservation and just how garbage it is. Not just like with Nintendo, but just a lot of
I,
places in
I think
general.
Sony's is way worse.
You're
Yeah.
Like,
right,
the
because
Wii
like the
U
transition,
had great Virtual Console. The PS4 has terrible Virtual Console.
it's it's like
Yeah.
it's baffling to me that like the transition from PS3 to PS4 is just so mind-boggling
I know.
because
It
PS3
is.
had so many like just choices and varieties. Like I know a lot of people miss the fact that no more backwards compatibility with PS2, but they still kept backwards compatibility with PS1 throughout all the different versions of the PS3. And on top of
Yes.
that, you also had a whole plethora of PS1 and then PS2 games that you could purchase online if you wanted to. And then the sales and stuff didn't just only apply to the new games that came out or the new like or the main or the new like whatever digital games. They also applied to these classic games as well. Like I remember collecting a whole bunch of games like both on PS1 and PS2 that were only like a buck or just like a couple bucks or whatever. Like it was insane, and it just sucks that the PS4 isn't really, doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, there have been rumors going around that the PS5 will be backwards compatible with every PlayStation generation, which will be fucking
I
amazing, but I don't know how
that
likely it is.
That's the thing. Like I want like as much as I want like certain like points or certain features to be included in like a next gen console. Like the problem with the PS3 when that first came out, with how high the price was because it had properties or it had components that allowed for PS1 and PS2 backwards compatibility, but at the same time it drove manufacturing costs like up the roof, which made the price of the console like $600 on launch.
Well, the main reason
yeah.
for that was the Blu-ray drive, which was brand
Oh,
new at the time.
yeah, that's true.
True.
That's very true. I don't know. I really do hope that that's the case. Like, an all-in-one machine would be awesome, but one thing is for sure, I'm still keeping my PS3 and 4 on close watch because there's still like, unless there's a way for them to like also allow me to transfer all of my downloaded content from PS3 over, which again is a very, very, very high improbability, then that's when I'll consider to like basically just fully retire the PS3,
Yeah.
or at least my PS3 anyway.
Yeah.
Can't say the same for everyone else's, but yeah.
Anyway, we got a little off topic there.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
like, what do you guys think that these domains mean? Like, Persona 5R, Persona 5S, M. The letters we have are R, S, M, and B.
Okay, so
Um.
S could mean a lot of things. S could mean Switch, which I feel like is well, I mean that's pretty much one of the main reasons why we're here right now
Yeah,
talking about
Switch
it.
Edition.
Yeah.
Shoot, what did you say it was? Like you said R,
R, S, M, and B.
R, S, M. So we got R, S.
Okay. I have a big feeling that would be the Persona 4 Golden version of Persona 5, where
Yeah.
they just where it's actually no, maybe not remastered, but
I have a bad feeling that that means Persona 5 remastered and it's going to be announced with the PS5. Yeah, that's the
yeah.
last thing the PS5 needs to be is a repeat of the PS4 where like for the first couple years like all the games it was getting were just remasters.
But the thing
Well,
is
it
that
could
where would
it
they?
could
Oh,
it
sorry.
could
Go ahead.
all it could also mean um reber- uh, well, many things like rebirth, redemption, or something like. Oh my god, why did I pull out a fucking done? Anyways, it could it can mean many things, especially pertaining to the story. So who knows? Maybe it's an after story.
Maybe kind of like the FES.
Mm.
Yes.
Or even more ambitious, what if they decide to make Persona 5 a duology? I mean, I again just throwing some ideas out
Yeah,
Oh,
but
there.
like
like a
how
dual.
would they do that? Because Persona
Okay,
5
it would be telling from Akechi's perspective.
Like a side story, like the side
Yeah.
story.
I guess so.
The thing is that Atlus, I feel like, has delved into so many different territories when it comes to talking about spin-offs or sequels or side stories or something,
Yeah.
that anything can basically be up in the air. Like hell, like I
They've
none of
they've
us.
never done anything from like another character's perspective aside from FES with Aegis.
Yeah, and
But
Yeah.
plus they did pretty much confirm, in that when in that final well, not the final Yellow, but when they reveal like fake Igor and stuff, they did
yeah.
confirm that like uh Akechi did have the Joker,
The
the
wild card.
Yeah.
wild card. Yeah.
Oh, that would be so fucking rad to be able to play as Akechi, but I'm just yeah. Anyways, um
Well, everyone's expecting the Persona 5 like portable re-release or whatever it's called. Everyone's been calling it Persona 5 Crimson. I think I think the S could stand for Scarlet.
yeah.
Oh man,
Ye-
the name speculations kind of remind me of like when people were speculating that the quote unquote definitive Persona 3 thing was gonna be called Velvet. But yeah, no, going back to Persona 5 though. Yeah, I mean I feel like Crimson or Scarlet would definitely be like the two most
um,
likely names, or like two most likely subtitles
yeah.
to have for the Persona 5 eventual remaster.
Yeah, I agree. Wonder
Yeah.
what M and B mean.
I have no idea. Like
Feel
Because
like
that sounds kind of like a duology of maybe some sort of maybe also could be some sort of side or after story, that or some
Maybe.
sort of spinoff.
Maybe. I mean,
I have a theory that B could also stand for battle, meaning that they
like
could all
Arena.
yeah, so like they could
Oh,
probably have like Arxis, be on like go to town with a Persona 5
Yeah,
fighting game.
well, I have little doubt that we're gonna get a Persona 5 fighting game.
yes.
I think if we do, I think if they do, they could potentially make it into a Guilty Gear style fighting game, and rather than a Blaze Blue style one.
Yeah, they
That'd
could
be
do
cool.
that. That would be cool.
Yeah. Or maybe they could go the route Street Fighter did and use actual 3D models, but
Oh,
I
that would
don't.
be fucking awesome.
I mean, it'd be cool, but I don't think they're gonna do that.
Imagine if they
Yeah.
did that, they would they imagine if they did that, they'd be and they reuse the Joker model for Smash
Oh
over
my
time.
god.
Yes.
Or they just
Just
they just made it a Super Smash Brothers clone.
Oh no.
That would be that would be hilarious but sad at the same time.
That would be
PlayStation
very
All Stars all
non-Christmas
over.
for
Please
sure.
don't remind me of that game.
Oh man.
I don't want to be reminded of that game either.
But yeah, M, it's like I I really can't think of what M could stand for.
um, shoot, I don't know.
Hmm.
I was gonna say music, but I was like, wait, no, we already got
Yeah.
dancing. It's
Uh,
so crazy. Like, I want to with the domain names. Like, I want to sort of. My mind's been kind of wanting to fall back into like the possible like spin-offs that Persona 4 has already had, but then I
yeah.
remembered that we pretty much have almost
We've
all of
already
them.
gotten them except for Arena.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and like the likelihood of that happening, it doesn't seem as high because I feel like Arxis is like has their has their priorities elsewhere. Like obviously, the A team is working on Dragon Ball Fighters and
Yeah.
whatever other like DLC or patches that they're making for that. And
Who know? Who knows? They might get some other company in on it.
I mean, personally speaking, my dream Persona fighting game would basically come from the same exact developers that made the JoJo fighting game, the what was it, Heritage of the Future that Capcom
Yes.
made, and that
Say.
exact same team like went on to make like the Persona 5 fighting game. That
Oh
would be like
yes.
my dream Persona, like Persona 5
Same
game,
here.
because like
Same here.
yeah, because I'm a Capcom fighting game fan myself. Like if I were to like compare the other like fighting game companies,
Mhm.
I'm definitely more inclined with Capcom, and them taking like basically evolving the stand mechanics that they introduced with Heritage of the Future to like to Persona. That would be really interesting to see.
That would translate very well.
Yeah, but sadly though, I don't think that that's going to happen because obviously those developers have long since left Capcom and
Yeah.
yeah, a lot of other like stuff related to again, that's just my dream.
Yeah.
Get out there.
But that's
Yeah.
really all we've got to talk about for the domains. The next
hmm
thing I wanted to talk about was Atlus's New Year's cards for 2019, where
Yes.
which was from Famitsu magazine. They basically said, like, I'm reading this quote from a Persona Central article where they
hmm
said, starting with Catherine and Full Body, we are steadily preparing unannounced new titles. Please look forward to a follow-up report of Shin Megami Tensei V as well.
hmm
Finally.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that means that we're going to be getting another Atlas stream, basically akin to what they did with 2013, and just
Yeah.
use that stream to just either announce a whole bunch of new titles and, of course, elaborate on, SMT5, of course.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, on topic with SMT5, I am actually not as upset as others regarding why we haven't gotten SMT5 news, why there isn't really much talk about SMT5 with Atlus. And the main reason why is because of a little bit of detail that was dropped during that January 2017 Switch game list, you know, expo, presentation or whatever you want to call it. And
Hmm.
that main thing is that they said that SMT5, this is just basically a trailer that Atlus came up with on the spot. Development is really, really early, and that whole trailer that we saw during that presentation was essentially just a tech demo of
Really?
what they were going to be coming up with.
Pretty much.
So
I mean, like,
Yeah.
I warned everybody, like, not to get excited because we didn't get any gameplay. We're probably not going to get any solid info on this for a long time,
yeah,
which is
I was
Yeah.
exactly what happened.
exactly. I was
Yeah.
settled. I was settled with the fact that we wouldn't be getting any info off this game until either 2019 or 2020. The main reason why is because, again, with game development, especially when it comes to games that have been either early in development or whatever, they take several years to do. And the reason
They do.
why something like Smash Brothers, for instance, has been either, on the topic or just been talked about for so long is because that game was developed for a very long time, unlike, of course, SMT5. So, yeah, that right there, it basically lines up with what I thought was going to happen in regards to us getting new info on.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's not the first time it's happened either. It also happened with Persona 5. It
Exactly.
happened
Yeah.
early. It happened earlier that same year with Shin Megami Tensei Cross Fire Emblem.
Ugh.
Like what they
Oh.
did was they showed us a trailer, they showed us some artwork of SMT characters, then some artwork of Fire Emblem characters. Then we got like a screen of like fire or something, and then they
Yeah.
said coming to the Wii U. But of course, being the 15-year-old I was, I got really excited and I didn't actually think about this might not happen or it might not be what I expected.
I I remember
Yeah.
that very, very vividly because at the
I
time
remember.
I was just getting into modern Fire Emblem games, which of course the most modern one being Awakening. Um, Shin Megami Tensei, I think I was getting my feet wet with, because the only Mega 10 game, well, mainline Mega 10 game that I've played up until that point when that was announced was mainly Nocturne, and I was about to get my feet wet with, no, oh, I remember, SMT4 didn't come out yet. Like, I think it came out in
It came
Japan.
it came out
Yeah.
like summer 2013.
Yes, yes, it came out. So this came out summer 2013, out here in America,
And Fire Emblem Awakening also released like right
February 20.
around the same time that the trailer was announced.
Yeah.
Right, right, yeah. I remember I was hyped because these were the two franchises that I was getting really heavily, like starting to get heavily into. Um,
Same.
and the fact that we were going to get a crossover of this caliber, the fact it was going to be an RPG and not like a straight up fighting game or whatever, felt really cool and oh my goodness, like so much. No, thankfully though, with in regards to SMT5 on Switch, I I think what we're getting, with the trailer that came out, I think it was like what earlier last year, right? That we got
Yeah.
that trailer.
Yeah.
Versus what we got in that E3, January, the Switch game presentation. Let's call it that. Um, it feels very similar. Like there's not like any disconnect at all really because what we saw in that first thing was pretty much like a tech demo.
Yeah.
Whereas with SMT Cross Fire Emblem, that felt like just a straight up that straight up just felt straight up like a, hey, plan A didn't work, throw all that in the trash, here's plan B, we're going with this situation.
Just like a
Yeah.
big kick to the
It
balls.
did.
It felt like a
It
complete,
really did.
yeah, it felt like a complete 180. Like it felt neither like SMT, like barely has anything SMT other than like combat and the names and all of that. And the Fire Emblem stuff was pretty much made into personas, which, I mean, I know that was like a very big thing that people were comparing it to when the actual like like legit trailer dropped. But yeah, I mean, like gameplay wise, that's what it was really. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
not saying that in a bad way, obviously, but there was more to do with Persona than it did with SMT, which I think if they just crossed it over with Persona, I think that would have been much better received. No, but in all seriousness though, or I guess semi-seriousness, I do want to mention that the game also has a character, and this is how you can tell that this is fully removed from SMT. This game has a character called Tiki equals waifu, or Tiki is my waifu P. That is a legit character name. I'm not making this up.
I remember that. Oh my god.
Yeah,
The
me too.
fuck. I tried to delete that from my fucking memory. Oh my god.
And it's literally just a girl that's wearing like a shirt that says "I love Tiki," and she has like a Tiki poster thing. Yeah, it's very weird. Like even as a Nintendo game, it is very weird.
Yeah.
But I guess going back to SMT5 though, um, yeah, I'm definitely hoping for a stream of some kind.
Yes.
Maybe not exactly, because again, I don't want to set my hopes too high. But at least somewhere in the same caliber as kind of like that late 2013 stream that showed off or announced all these different games. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what I'm hoping too, but I'm also hoping that they throw SMT5 in there.
Yeah.
Like, that will help emphasize that they're part of the same series, and maybe that'll get some Persona 5 fans into mainline.
Oh yeah,
I
of
think
course.
one
Yeah.
thing I absolutely hated that Persona 5 did was that they took the title Shin Megami Tensei out of it.
Mm,
Like, I
Yeah.
can understand them
Same.
doing that, not doing that for, like, Golden or, Arena or Dancing All Night, but Persona 5 being a main entry in the Persona series, there's no reason they should have taken the title Shin Megami Tensei off of it.
well,
And this is
yeah.
where everyone's
Yeah.
going to say, oh, but Persona 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and like a whole bunch of other games weren't SMT in Japan. It's like, well, yeah, but like if Persona 3 and 4 weren't called Shin Megami Tensei, I don't think as many people would have known about the rest of the series
Oh
that
yeah,
do now.
Yeah.
and that's the thing. Like, funnily enough, there was a time when Shin Megami Tensei was more well known than Persona was, because Nocturne did do moderately well. Like,
Yes,
it
it
is
did.
considered a cult classic, for many, and
Hell,
because
I
of this,
mentioned in the last stream that was my first game. I actually got into Nocturne before I got into Persona.
yeah,
I got into SMT beforehand.
Yeah, well,
So
I'm one of the guys that started with Persona, and the title Shin Megami Tensei is how I found out about the rest of the series.
yeah,
hmm
yeah, and what he was saying about it being moderately, it did do moderately well at one point,
hmm
but they really they. I agree with you guys on how it's why would they take the title of Shin Megami Tensei off
hmm
It's
when it's consistent, when it's been consistent all of these
like
years.
it has the same moves, it has the same monsters, the gameplay is
Yeah.
similar.
Oh yeah,
It's like, what's not Shin Megami Tensei about it?
Yeah.
exactly. Like, like I feel like in a lot of ways, and again, this is just mainly due to gameplay differences and stuff. I feel like Digital Devil Saga is more has less to do with Megami Tensei than Persona does. At least if we were to talk like strictly gameplay and
Yeah.
whatnot. Um, but yeah, no, for sure, I do agree. Like Persona owes a lot to that title to Shin Megami Tensei. So in a lot of ways, it does it does owe itself to still have that homage to kind of kind of where it came from, especially with the Western audience, since
Yeah.
again without that Shin Megami Tensei moniker with Persona 3, with Persona 4, like perhaps you wouldn't get as many people to try that game out because again with Nocturne with Nocturne being around, that did help.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, I think they should put SMT5 with that stream where they announce all the games.
Yeah,
I
Yes.
think they're gonna do that with Catherine Full Body too. I think that's gonna be in there.
Yes.
and that's the one thing I'm really really hoping for is that with again going back to the possibilities of Persona 5 coming out on Switch, if Atlus plays their cards right, they could potentially get people to play SMT5 due to the fact that again, if Persona 5 gets that Switch release, then who knows?
Yes.
Maybe they could. What I think Atlas should probably try and do is try and tie Persona 5 in with how um, SMT5 does, because I feel like Atlas isn't doing their part in getting people to like in like advertising the fact that hey, these two series are connected
Yeah,
like that. I feel
they
like
kind of did that with the DLC costumes, but those aren't included with the base game. You got to pay for them.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And that's kind of a bummer. Like that's the only people that would pay for these DLC are people that are fans of those games,
Hmm.
not people that have never again with the vast majority of like a lot of these people, a lot of newcomers have never played any other Megami Tensei game or Persona game.
Exactly what they should do, like with the Persona 5 re-release, either like if they don't put the title SMT back on it, then they should make the DLC costumes free, make them unlockable in the game somehow,
Yeah,
and put more references to mainline and the rest of the series
yeah.
in the game.
I I feel like this, and I feel like if Persona 5 does come out on Switch, I feel like that's either well mostly Atlas's perfect opportunity to say, hey, we know you're playing Persona 5 on Switch, but guess what? Well, guess what else is on this Nintendo console, or I guess will be on the Nintendo console? SMT5, and it's made by the same guys that made this. So I feel like
Yeah.
to work on their advertising with that, and at the same time, when in terms of DLC, or not just DLC actually, no, screw that. In terms of free stuff that they can give, like outfits and stuff, they should they should correlate that with SMT5. I feel like that right there would definitely help Atlas out in basically garnering interest back into just mainline Megaten.
Yeah,
Well, that's
Yes.
SMT5, of course.
Yes.
yeah. Well,
Because technically, oh
yeah.
sorry,
Go
go ahead.
ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say this technically SMT5 would be the first. Well, I say technically, begin air quotes here. Would be the first mainline SMT game that's getting a again air quotes home console release since Nocturne.
True.
Again, heavy air quotes because of the portability on the Switch, but
Yeah.
considering it is a hybrid console that we previously established, um,
Hmm.
that's that. There you go.
Yeah.
Also,
Still counts.
still counts. Um, but yeah, but so like yeah, again, like there is going to be more resources poured into SMT5 than say 4 and 4 Apocalypse. And
Right.
with that resources, it would definitely be a waste if SMT5 just stays as a niche title, like the previous entries were.
Right. I mean, this is their opportunity. It's
Mhm.
like, Atlus, if you're listening, please don't fuck it up.
Yeah,
Yes.
we have faith in you, but please, for the love of God, just make it known. There's only so
He.
much that three of us can do in terms of like letting people know, saying, "Hey, these guys just don't make Persona."
Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
There's so much more they can offer.
Because it's kind of sad because what was it, 2 years, no, last year, sorry, last year, I went to a convention close by to where I live called Anime Expo. It's a
I was
July
there
convention.
too.
You were
Ooh.
there,
Yeah, I
this year.
think all of us know what Anime Expo is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I guess to elaborate on my story, so I was on the Atlus. So Atlus had a booth, is obviously selling Persona 5 merch and stuff, since that had just came out. Like it came out that year. And they had a whole bunch of merch, mostly Persona 5, and uh, they had a really cool SMT4 Apocalypse wall scroll, and some of the guys
Ooh.
in front of me and behind me who were talking, um, got to know them a little bit, and I was telling them about SMT4 Apocalypse because I was like, hey, I really want that wall scroll, and they're like, what's that game? So that gave me like the perfect opportunity to like explain to them what the game's about, like what the different like mechanics are compared to like Persona 5, and they're like, wow, that sounds really cool. That sounds like a different take on what Persona 5 is. And I'm like, yeah, if only Atlus would make that more well known rather than just have a wall scroll there.
Yeah, and the only
Yeah.
reason they had the wall scroll there was because it was left over from last year.
Yeah.
And it's yeah, so I feel like it's not the fault of the games. It's just like poor advertising or some. They need to make this more public. They
Yeah.
need to make it
Yes.
public. They need to pour like, again, if anything, like that's it shows like with how diligent they've been with Persona 5, because holy hell, like again, 5 just it felt like it came out of nowhere, but a lot of this was planned by Atlus. Like Atlus
Yes.
was most definitely pushing for this game to do really well, to grab people, to get people into the series.
And it worked.
Yeah, and I feel
Yeah.
like SMT5 has that potential too, but it needs to be presented and done similarly
Yes.
with how P5 did.
Anyway, well, SMT5 and whatever new Persona titles weren't the only things teased in the postcard. They also, like, they didn't really specify it. They just said they were going to announce some unannounced titles. And
Mm.
it could be things that they previously teased. Like, the article points out that there was a Vanillaware game, like, when the website was updated for the unreleased 13 Centennials Igus Rim and another unannounced game. They also said that there was going to be a new game from Mitsuru Hirata, who, if you don't know, he worked on Radiant Historia and Tokyo Mirage
Yeah.
Sessions.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
It'd be kind of interesting to see where like what kind of direction he's going with his projects, because again, while Tokyo Mirage Sessions wasn't, let's say, it wasn't exactly the game I was hoping it would be, I would definitely be lying if I said it was a bad game. It definitely had its moments. I feel like Tokyo Mirage Sessions' biggest flaw was how it was advertised. I mean, how it was
Yes.
first initially revealed.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't know, with this new game that he's making, I just hope that his reveal trailer um, is not in a similar situation as that one.
Well, I don't think it's going to be.
Yeah,
Yes.
Because we
I
don't know what it is yet. I think, like, I think they're just going to announce it and we'll either be excited or we won't be, but some people will be.
we'll see.
Yeah.
But there was also an unannounced Etrian Odyssey game teased too.
I don't know. I'm just thinking about like all the different games that could just be randomly dropped. Imagine if they made a new. Imagine if they made a sequel to Snowboard Kids.
Imagine.
That's
Well,
dumb.
there have been a lot of rumors that Devil Survivor 3 for the Switch.
Oh,
I would go full Etika if that happened.
oh, oh
Same.
my goodness! Just the fact that you mentioned the possibility of that. I'm just like, ooh, Nelly. I'm feeling like Vince McMahon in that one GIF. That oh man, John, you just hit that sweet spot right there when you just said that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Devil Survivor 3.
Or
Oh
Rhino 3.
god. Yes.
Or
Yes.
or 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 a actual English translation of Devil Summoner 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Yes.
Got
That
Soul
would be.
Hackers. Give us
Woo.
some Devil Summoner 1.
Yeah.
Let me see good old Detective Kuzunoha.
Yeah.
Please.
Or maybe a new spin-off.
A new spin-off would be great.
That'd be interesting because like I'm thinking about it. I think the last legitimate Nintendo spin-off that we got was Devil Survivor, and that's about to be 10 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Holy shit!
Holy
I did
shit.
not realize that. Like in terms of the type, we've been getting Mega 10 spin-offs since like Persona and Digital Devil Saga, Devil Summoner, but I think Devil Survivor was the last type of spin-off series that we got, and that was 2009.
Ow. It is crazy.
And I think a new spin-off series would be great.
Yeah, it's if we don't get Devil Survivor or Rhino 3, at least give us a new spin-off. The last thing I want to talk about, well, at least for spin-off titles that I hope to get, it's not SMT related, but I'm also hoping I'm clinging to the small bit of hope that we'll get a new Trauma Center game.
Yes.
Oh my
Fuck
goodness.
yes.
That is
You bringing up Trauma
such
Center,
an underrated franchise.
It is a really underrated franchise. And its controls, like, were really surprisingly decent, even on
yeah.
a Wii.
Yeah, it's like one of the few Wii games that actually has good controls.
Regrettably,
Yeah.
the only title that I've played was Second Opinion, and I do agree that the controls on there is really good. Like, I'm honestly surprised that like a company that wasn't Nintendo got the got the motion controls so well. Like it's just
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
It-
but the thing is, the last Trauma Center game we got was Trauma Team, which was in 2010. I was hoping that we would get one on the Wii U because the Wii U would have been perfect for Trauma Center, but
hell
that
yeah,
never happened.
Yeah.
yeah, especially with that gamepad. Like honestly, that
Yeah.
I mean that's a whole other topic that we can go into detail some other time. But it was a totally like missed opportunity with that.
It was.
I know, but then again, the Wii U didn't sell that well.
Yeah, and also if you remember, like during that period, like Atlus had its hands on everything, and after that 2013 announcement of all their games that they were making, like that was pretty much like Atlus's focal point was to make sure that all of these games come out well.
Yeah.
So I don't think they had enough manpower or resources, and I think it was during that time when the Atlus buyout happened too.
Oh
Back
yeah,
in
that was about the time
Yeah.
when
That was the time.
like the Wii U was
yeah, so
new and
Atlus
people were expecting it to do well, but it didn't.
yeah, so Atlus Atlus regrettably, I mean I had a lot on its plate during that time frame.
It's just wishful thinking. But anyway, the last thing I wanted to talk about was the it's the special Persona 5 episode that's going to be airing at the very end of this year.
Mm-hmm.
It's not long after this episode is uploaded, actually.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, basically what happened with Persona 5 the animation was it ended, if you haven't been watching, it ended at the part of Persona 5 where Ren, or Akira as he was previously called, fakes his death, and yeah, that's pretty much the end of the first season.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is a very, very odd way to end it, because at the very least, with the 3 movies and 4 animated series, they pretty much concluded the storylines, well, the main storyline of their series.
Yeah.
I say main for 4 because they did have that all the same thing, but I felt like 4's was more justified though. With 5, it feels just so,
5, it's kind of up in the air.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like, how its ending is in general is really, really, kind of on a cliffhanger, especially for certain characters.
Yeah,
Mhm.
well, that's why I'm
Well,
saying
I think,
it's the first season. Like, I don't think it's going to end there. I think it's going to get a second season.
yeah.
But I remember, I can't remember if it was the director or someone else on the staff, but they said they were going to take the anime in a different direction from the game, kind of like Devil Survivor 2 did. Even though
Oh.
Devil Survivor 2, the animation wasn't received so well.
Yeah.
Man, I remember keeping up with that one. Man, 5 years ago, me was very, very much more tolerant to stuff like this happening. I'll
Yeah.
say that much. But yeah, no, going on with 5, going with P5 though, yeah, I don't know, like, it's, I feel like this, with what a 5 is as a whole, in some ways it feels like a cheaper knockoff of the game, but in other ways, I feel like it can, if it wants to, it has the ability to like flesh out some of the characters that you don't
Especially,
get to see.
especially some of the later characters, like
Yes, exactly.
Akechi, needs to be fleshed out.
Yes, exactly. Yes, and the fact that you get to see like Makoto as a kid, and
Yeah.
and then yeah, and then Yusuke. It's like this is the stuff that like the anime should have like prioritized more in terms
Yes.
of like in terms of fleshing everything out, and
Yeah.
of course like telling a cohesive story also helps too.
Right. Well, I mean, I haven't been watching the anime. I'm gonna wait for all the episodes to be released, and then I'm just gonna marathon the whole thing. And then what I'll probably
Yeah.
do is I'll probably like make a podcast or a video, just me giving my thoughts on the series rather than do a discussion of every episode.
Yeah, I think
That is a good idea.
I might actually join in on that thing.
Yeah, I'll join in on it too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I mean, honestly, like I wasn't that big a fan of Persona 4 the animation or Devil Survivor 2 the animation, so my expectations for Persona 5 the animation are pretty low, but
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, I still want to watch it just to see what they do with it.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I've been
Yeah, no,
hearing a
Yes.
lot of mixed opinions on Persona 5 the animation. Anyway, that's really all there is to talk about for that. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about?
No, I think able to, yeah, no, I don't think of anything else.
Yep. All right, so
Yeah. Same here.
all right, so this is where I'm going to shut everything down. All right, anyways, guys, thank you guys for listening. We're looking forward to seeing you on the next episode.
See.
Laters.
See ya.